I just watched Squid Game Season 2, and I'm gonna be honest, I do not understand what all the hype is about. People told me this was supposed to be a gritty drama, a reflection, a commentary on how the wealth distribution between the haves and the have-nots can lead to desperation on both sides, and showcases exactly how extreme the situations can be for people under financial burdens. But watching through the show, I don't get it. What is so bad about being trapped in a room with 400 other beautiful women with giant bazongas, and if you lose one of the games, you just have to sleep with each other? That doesn't exactly feel like being eliminated to me. It was at this moment I realized I was not watching Squid Game Season 2, but instead was watching Squirt Game Episode 2, and things started to make a little bit more sense. In all honesty, I probably should have noticed something was up when it said that the show was only streaming on Netflix. 3 years ago, I made a video talking about all the memes to come from Squid Game Season 1, and that video has randomly started picking up more views in the last couple weeks, which only means one thing: you hyenas must be desperate to learn about more memes from the new season of Squid Games, and far from me to step away from easy views, so let's take a look at it. Our story picks up a few years after the end of Squid Game Season 1. Our main character, Jiun, has won the death games and has walked away with the better part of US $30 million, give or take, and has decided, rather than painting his hair pink and then traveling to America to live with his family and all of his wealth, he would instead stay back, completely throw away the pink hair, which now feels like doesn't have any sort of plot significance, and use the money to find his way back to the island to play a second round of these death games, but this time in an effort to try to put them to an end once and for all. There is a bunch of drama about how he finds the guy playing Ddakji and tries to get himself back into the games. He brings a tracking device, he's got military personnel following him, but long story short, all of that ends up falling apart, and instead he finds himself completely powerless in a situation where he has to play through the Squid Game games again, but this time with the knowledge of what's about to come. Immediately, our main character does what I think anybody in this situation would do, which is try to grab a hold of the situation and be the leader of the pack. Hey, everybody shut up. I know you're all confused as to how you got here and what you're doing here, but listen to me. Believe it or not, I've done this before. I can lead you to safety. I can't show you the actual clips because it's on Netflix and I'll get copyright struck, but here's a Roblox version of basically what happens.
Green light!
Freeze! I've played this game before!
Now, our main character is not shot in the back of the head immediately after trying to tell everybody how the game works. However, just like in Season 1, hundreds of people, I think 100 or so, are eliminated because nobody understands the simple concept of don't move when they scream red light. After the game takes place, they line up for the lottery system where they can all vote if they want to continue playing or not continue playing. And everybody looks at Jiun, our main character, as to why he knows what that death game was all about before anything happened, to which the very English dub that has been ridiculed to this date comes up, where he screams that he has played these games before.
I played these games before! I said I played these games before!
Obviously, anytime video games, it's not even really mentioning video games, but anytime anything can be interpreted as mentioning video games in a mainstream TV show or movie, it's gonna be memed to death on the internet. And this particular delivery of the English dub of this line that is said in Squid Game Season 2 is just perfect meme fuel for anybody who wants to make an edit talking about how they've done something before. Professional gamers, more experienced players, referring to something that somebody shows them. Yo dog, have you played my femboy roommate? Yes! Yes, I have played these games before! A lot of people have been comparing this to like Lois Griffin screaming, PETA! With like way more enthusiasm than is required, but the reality is I totally understand the justification for the amount of enthusiasm, the amount of energy that is put into the situation, because it's so frustrating. All of these guys just watch hundreds of people just get shot to death during these games. Everybody in the room is well aware that if you lose, you are going to die, and yet still, when voting if they want to continue or go on, many people continue to vote that they want to keep playing the games purely for their own self-interest to try to win the money, even if it means they themselves or everybody else in the room is going to die a gruesome death. To add an extra level to this, there is a new caveat in Season 2. In Season 1, if you voted to go home, you got none of the money. But in Season 2, if you did decide to vote to go home, everybody splits whatever is remaining in the amount of money. You don't even go home with nothing. This leads into a whole situation where people have to wear badges based on whether or not they voted to continue the suffering and playing the games, or if they voted to go home and save everybody, which leads to this whole little political discourse between the people who are deciding in their own self-interest versus those who want to just save as many people as possible. It's very well done. We can talk about bad dubs all day, but the reality of the situation is the thing that makes Squid Games interesting to watch is the characters that are in the game. With 400-something contestants, one thing that Mr. Beast was never able to capture in any of his recreations of Squid Games is the tension and the emotional ties that you have after learning some of the backstories of the players in the game. And in Season 2, it is no different. One of the fan-favorite characters is a so-called rapper who goes by Thanos, played by K-pop star Top.
What's up? Nice to meet you, my brother. Welcome to the Thanos world. Beauty flower. Bad you know, Chel. I'm a legend, Thanos. Tungurami! Let's go!
Hey, welcome back, my friends. Skirt!
Believe it or not, Squid Games 2 actually has a comic relief character. I mean, he's still kind of an asshole as you go on to learn later, but his whimsical nature and the fact that he doesn't seem to care about the fact that everything he's doing is on the brink of death, and his random spurts of English vernacular, the fact that he's a South Korean rapper and is just hitting on girls the entire time they're playing these death girls, it's pretty obvious why this dude is a fan favorite. But older K-pop stars, like my wife for instance, will notice that this character is actually played by world-renowned K-pop star Top, who used to be in a band titled Big Bang, but was shunned from the industry in its entirety because, and I'm not joking, he was caught with marijuana. Evidently, weed is such a taboo substance in Korea that a major star being caught with it would result in him being blacklisted from the entertainment industry for the better part of like a decade. In fact, to my knowledge, this introduction to Squid Games 2 was already incredibly controversial because this was Top's first foray back into mainstream media, and I have to say he did a great job. The showrunner explained that he was very nice and was willing to do everything that they needed him to do to portray the character of Thanos, and in fact, he even picked Thanos to be his nickname because he wanted people in every language and every culture to understand what his name was, to be able to relate to this character, so he just picked a really popular name from another very big franchise. Good move in my opinion, because he's one of everybody's favorite characters on the show now. There is even a small Easter egg, despite the fact that it should be obvious that a real-life rapper in a K-pop group is playing a rapper in the show. There should be a lot of similarities that come naturally to Top's performance, but during the round and round merry-go-round game that they play, you can momentarily see Top hitting the Bang 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 move that was popularized by Big Bang's song Bang Bang Bang, a callback to a music video from over a decade ago that I imagine almost nobody can appreciate without first being explained to just how significant it is that this guy is hitting this move in his debut premiere after disappearing off the face of the earth for 10 years. Somebody out there is pissing their pants over this. Believe it or not, Thanos is not even the only rapper that is in Squid Game Season 2. The character of 007, who is the son in the mom-son dynamic characters, is also a big rapper in South Korea, evidently, which I think is dope as hell. This is the equivalent of, like, putting Ed Sheeran in an episode of Game of Thrones, except everybody doesn't hate it for some reason. It's probably impossible to fully encapsulate the impact that the original Squid Games had on internet and meme culture. The bright colors of the costumes, the games, the novel interpretation of what this entire series was led to an entire ocean of content creators recreating the games, making their own parodies, animators making their own whimsical renditions and parodies of just how ludicrous these situations were in without any of the drama, leading to a lot of original content being made about it. But with Squid Game Season 2, unfortunately, because a lot of the themes are already repeated from the original games, while I do think Season 2 is just as good of a watch as Season 1, the reality is that the memes are a little bit lacking, and I think the reason is because we've seen these memes before. Despite this, I'm happy to talk about it just because it brings me back to the time when I watched the original Squid Game and stayed up for 12 hours just to watch the entire show and then make a great video talking about all my favorite moments of it 3 years ago. And it's nice to know that I can do that still, and thank you so much for watching me yap about it. A big thank you to the patron scrolling in the back. Subscribe if you want to catch another one of my videos later this week, and I will catch you guys then. Shpisu, my friends. Skirt!